The PGA Tour can officially kick off its 2026 season this week. Why? Well, Scottie Scheffler's teeing it up. Fairway to Heaven, we're live breaking down the American Express Pro-Am in 30 seconds. And a very good evening, everybody. And welcome welcome all to Fairway to Heaven, right here on the STT Sports Network. We are live, YouTube and Twitter. You know the drill. Wherever you're watching, it is free to do it. It's free to support this channel. Hit the like button wherever you're watching. Hit subscribe on the STT Sports Network YouTube page. And please, 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 ask you this over and over again. Please share this out. Tell one, tell all. Tell everybody you know. Subscribe. Would greatly appreciate that. I am your host, Phil Stifle, as always. And as always, I got my two main men here with me. I got Jason Sullivan. I got Soldier Steve Fuentes. And guys, we're going to get started. Like I said, the official start to the season for the PGA Tour does not start until Scottie Scheffler tees off. And Scottie Scheffler's teeing off this week for the first time in a few years at the Sony Open. And last year we got a delayed start because, not the Sony, sorry, the Amex, sorry. I saw you shaking your head, sorry. I did actually set this whole show up as the AT&T Pro-Am by mistake, and I had to go back and rechange everything to Amex. For some reason, I thought it was AT&T at first this week. I don't know what I'm doing this week. But what I do know is that Scottie Scheffler's getting his season underway a little quicker than last year. And I think before we get started on the Amex, before we get started talking about the Pro-Am, let's just talk about Scottie Scheffler for a second. And last year started out pretty slow for him by his standards, right? But Scottie Scheffler only had three non-top 10 finishes last year. The Waste Management Phoenix Open, where he finished 25th, the Arnold Palmer 11th, and the 20th of the Players. Everything else was a top 10 last year for Scottie Scheffler. Jason, let's start with you on this one. What do you think Scottie Scheffler could do this year? But also, what do you think kind of expectations he puts on himself to follow up a year like last year?
I expect the same thing, more of the same. I mean, honestly, the fact that he's like one of the better putters on tour now has to scare the absolute crap out of everybody else on the tour. I mean, if this guy can putt and his short game is good luck with that. I mean, this is the kind of course, this is probably the only kind of course that other people have a chance right now with him. It seems like courses like the Memorial, like more difficult, like even like the Players, like things like that. Like it just seems like nobody else has a chance. I mean, unless it's going to be a birdie fest, who's going to beat him on a tough course? I'm just happy for one that first of all that he's back, but second of all that they got the pricing right finally. That they made it so hard to play Scottie.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to get into that and how you can build a Scottie lineup in a few minutes. But Steven, I mean, like expectations for us for Scottie and expectations for Scottie on Scottie are two different things, but probably pretty similar. Like I have full expectations that he's going to win. What's he got? 23 or 24 career wins now. I fully expect him to win 3 or 4 more events this year and keep up this string of hitting the top 10 every single week. That he tees it off.
And to add to that, we're going to get a lot of the Scottie Tiger talk. The last person to do this, this week was Tiger Woods. There's going to be a lot of that talk, which for us as fans, what does that do to our, do we put our expectations up now where we expect him every major, you got to go out and we expect you to win it. But if you don't win it, like Jason's saying, where they're pricing him in his very first event this season, even on Fanduel, right, where you get an extra $1,000, there's usually that big difference. There's only a $400 difference. Fanduel's 46 or 14.6, and DraftKings is 14.2. You know, they're coming out off the gates, letting us know, hey, you're going to have to know your stuff and work, 5 other guys who is going to have to be top 10 in the 7K range, maybe 6K range, starting this week and future weeks. I think that's what we're going to get. It's going to be a fun DFS, I think, season. Every week Scottie's in it because they're setting the tone from the get-go. These betting sites, these DFS sites.
Absolutely. I want to bring up this comment. Scottie Scheffler, outright winner anytime he's in the field. I'm not betting him to be outright. What was he like? Plus 210, plus 230 to win the event wherever you're looking. But I had this idea earlier this week, and maybe Jason, you're a little bit smarter than I am. Maybe you got the analytics down on something like this. I was thinking of doing something fun and like laying $5 this week. I know it doesn't sound like much, and the return's not much, but like $5 on Scottie Scheffler to finish in the top 10. He was listed on Monday at minus 310 to finish in the top 10, right? Bet that. And then when that hits, because 90% of the time it's going to hit, just roll all that money over to the next tournament and bet him top 10 again. And see how many weeks in a row I can go and keep doubling, not doubling per se, rolling over my winnings on Scottie Scheffler top 10s. I mean, it only did work
Scottie money.
Like, do you get what I'm getting at? Like, do you think that, because betting $5 or $10 on Scottie top 10, it's not worth it. If you're a big bettor betting $1,000 or more dollars, maybe it would be worth it. But do you get the idea that I'm putting out there on Scottie Scheffler? Do you think maybe that's a way to get some exposure on him every week?
Seems like free money, right? I mean,
it
really does.
Seem like free money.
The dude had, would you say, 2 tournaments last year where he didn't finish in the top 10?
3. One of them, he had an 11th, a 20th, and a 25th, and everything else was top 10.
Yeah. So his floor, his absolute worst week was a 25th. I mean, that's just, we're watching something crazy right now, and I don't know if I would do the betting thing. I think unless you're putting a ton of
some creative to get, like, this week it's hard to play Scottie Scheffler, but I want investment every week in Scottie Scheffler.
I think the way to do it is the way that I've been doing it for the past couple of years, and you guys started doing it last year, is Scottie parlayed with somebody else to make a top 10. Okay. Or somebody else parlayed to make a top 5. Don't go crazy, but get decent odds with a guy that maybe is a little bit down the board that you have really high faith in getting a top 10. So I think that's the way.
We're in is Scottie. Yeah, Scottie is the favorite to win every event he's in, period. It's not what events, it's every. He's the favorite to win events that he's not even in, probably.
But if you listen to PGA radio right now, you would think that Cam Young was the favorite to win the Masters because everyone is talking about Cam Young to win the Masters.
I got my bet in before that number dropped, so I'm good on Cam Young. I got
every podcast is talking about it. Every show is talking about him to win the Masters. Let's not. It's a good bet for sure, but let's not go crazy.
All right. Well, we're at the Amex right now. Down out in California, the California Swing, begins. It's a pro-am. In my opinion, and I know a lot of golf, content creators say the same exact thing, but it sucks. The 3-course rotation. It's a pain in the ass. I don't like it. The pro-ams, slow this down, 6-hour rounds. We're in 2026. We don't have shot data on 2 of the 3 courses, which is ridiculous that you can't add a freaking GoPro or something like that on one of these courses. But Jason, as the course expert, let's get started. We got 3 courses, the Stadium course, the Nicklaus Tournament course, and La Quinta. What do we got on these courses this week?
You know who hates the 3 courses? The guy that talks about the courses. That's who hates it.
Exactly.
No, obviously we're gonna see 2 rounds if you make the cut. 2 rounds at the Pete Dye Stadium course. 7,200, 10 yards, par 72, POA overseed. Smaller greens on that hole. Water on 8 different holes. On that course, water on 8 holes. The strokes gained data, like you said, is only from this hole, from this course. I don't understand, like you said, in 2026, how we don't have any data on the other courses at all. It's just insane to me. But yeah, that's where all the strokes gained data is going to come. The other one's Nicklaus course, 7,147 yards, par 72, POA overseed greens as well. Bigger greens on that course, water on 6 holes. And then last, but I guess certainly least, La Quinta. 7,060 yards, par 72, POA and rye overseed greens. Very small greens, water on 7 holes. So we're kind of seeing a lot of water on these courses, which is definitely a big thing. 156 players in the field, cut after 3 rounds this week. A lot of long shot winners we've seen here. We've seen like guys with huge numbers win here, so that's something to keep in mind. Little tidbit: par 5 scoring is easier in this tournament than in any other tournament on the PGA Tour. So if you're weighing par 5, I don't think there's really much of an advantage to that because everybody's going to score on the par 5s. But 9 of the this is another little tidbit. 9 of the last 10 champions have played prior in the season to this tournament before they won.
Okay.
The only one
So
being
look at the guys from last week on your scorecard.
It's a little different now because you don't have 2 tournaments, so I don't know how that's going to play into effect, but we shall see.
Steve, what do you think of this 3-course rotation, 3-round cut? It's not a no-cut event. It's not a halfway point, 3-cut event. And what do you think of these courses that they're going to be playing this week out in California?
Well, the courses, they're easy. You know, you got someone like John Rahm, who a few years ago obviously talked about him and his dislike for, you know, this just being a birdie fest and everything. But I think that it being on 3 different courses gives it that's the difficult part. You're not getting the same course every single round for the first 3 rounds. And that's what makes it a little bit tougher, right? But it also, hey, that's what this is. That golf is, at the end of the day, you know, it's with the flat stick. You know, that's what's going to get you your low scores. So there's a lot of different ways you can play this. That's what I like about this. You know, bombers don't have an edge. Short guys don't have an edge. It's all about, I think, strategy going into this. But at the end of the day, this tournament is won on the greens. So that's what I'm a mini golf guy. So putt guy. So personally, I love this. I love this tournament. So
What did
I'm all for it.
A goddamn putting contest? Isn't that what he called it?
Yeah, a goddamn
putting contest.
He's not really right about that, though. It's weird. It's like it is, but I don't know. It's kind of test your overall game.
It's a birdie. It's a birdie contest.
It's a birdie contest for
who
sure.
Who can make the most birdies? Now, obviously, it's who makes the most birdies, which does correlate with putting, iron play, hitting the greens. There's a lot of things that come to play. But the thing that really annoys me still, it's not just the shot data that's lacking from 2 of these 3 courses. It's the fact that we got pros playing with amateurs. Like, and I get it. Pro-ams are a tradition in golf. Every week there's a pro-am, right? On Wednesdays before tournaments or Tuesdays, there are pro-ams. I don't like seeing amateurs playing in a major event. I don't think it's necessary. And that's why this course is so easy. That's why La Quinta is a par 72, barely 7,000 yards. That's why these courses are built, for this event the way they are, so that, Jason Sullivan could go tee it up with Scottie Scheffler this week and not look like a total jackass, And I don't think you need pro-ams for 4 rounds or even 3 rounds. You just don't.
But at least, if I'm not mistaken, this year is not pro golfers, amateur golfers, but they're actually golfers, right? It's not actually celebrities like it used to be.
Okay.
So I think that's a good thing.
So that maybe plays into it. I wonder also, and I was looking back to my notes from last year. Last year, 9 of the top, 25 golfers teed it up. This year, 12 of the top 25 golfers are teeing it up, and it's a much deeper field. That with Scottie in the field, with more top tier talent, whether and Jason, you mentioned this a few minutes ago, all outside of John Rahm, all long shots win this event over the last 5 to 10 years. Do you think the stronger field maybe changes that narrative a little bit this week? And maybe we start to see, some of the favorites, have a chance this week.
I think it's more the Birdie Fest is more of an equalizer than anything else, I think.
Okay.
I think this type of event brings the field more to somebody like Scottie than a tougher course. Like Scottie plays last week, he probably wins by a mile. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm a little curious as to why Scottie is playing this week. Is it just because he wants to get going a little bit to ramp the season up because there wasn't the Century this year? Or is there another reason? Like he was going to tee it up last year in this tournament too before he had the hand cut incident. But it's just kind of strange to me that he would play in this field.
Yeah, I don't know. Steven, what do you think about that? Because I read somewhere, Steve, that you shouldn't even have somebody on your betting card, with better than 70 to 1 odds. because it's always the 100, the 200, the 300 ones.
Yeah.
And I thought about that for a second, but then I'm like, hold on, we got a deeper field this week. Why don't we consider mixing up, keep those long shots on the card, keep some favorites on the card, like kind of bouncing around? Because when fields get stronger, the cream rises to the top.
Absolutely. And I think part of why, we're seeing this field being stronger is because Ludwig has never teed it off here. This is his first time here. And so now we're talking about a guy like him who is entering this field, a guy like Bobby Mack, who's only participated in this one time in 2024, who is in the type of form that he is. So you add someone like him, Fitzpatrick, someone else, there's a few guys who either haven't teed it up before, who are elite golfers already, like Oberg, like I said, or you're having guys who just haven't teed it up here in a while, like Scottie, like Bobby Mack, like Fitzpatrick. So that's what makes it, I think, this week a little bit more. You got a first guy like Neil Shipley, who is a first-time golfer out here, but he tore the Korn Ferry Tour up. So he can come out here and make some noise for 3 rounds and go make the cut, and possibly on Sunday go do something special. And I think that's what is going to stand out this year compared to previous years.
You also got golfers in the field that, making the strength of schedule, the strength of tournament feel stronger is that there's certain guys this year. You're mentioning Oberg and Fitzpatrick. I'll mention someone like Ben Griffin. Ben Griffin was in the field last year.
Yeah.
Ben Griffin was a nobody, not a nobody, but a nobody. He's
he
like
hadn't
the second or
ascended
third highest priced golfer in the field this week because he had such a great year last year. So certain players that are in this field regularly now are better golfers and making it maybe a little bit more difficult. So, I don't know. I think this is a potential year where we don't see a 200-1 winning it like we have in the past.
I like how Ben still hasn't taken his foot off the gas. Even though he's kind of established now, he's top 10 golfer in the world. Dude's still playing every week, just like he's always done. So I like that.
Did he play 30 times last year and he's on for it again? Scottie Stifle for the win all day. Yeah, I wish I was related to Scottie Scheffler. I would not be doing this show if I was related to Scottie Scheffler. I'd be hanging out with him on the golf course. And Adam, we'll get to last week's results, which were not so pretty later in the show for sure. All right, let's break it down. Let's get to it. Me and Jason are going, old school style with no model, as Fantasy National is down for the day. So you're going to have to deal with all of us doing very, very, old school type of research and old school type of knowledge here. But we're going to do our best to break it down. It starts with the 10K range, 10K, 10-2, Ben Griffin, 10-3, Ludwig, Cantley, 10-4, and Scottie at 14-2. And Jason already said it. They got the price right. Steve, do you agree that the price is right at 14-2 for Scottie Scheffler?
Absolutely. I think there was too many times last year that it was too inconsistent. They either got it right and then they would go 3-4 weeks in a row where it was like, what are they doing? And so, like I said in the very beginning, I think they're coming out and setting the tone early for, hey, if you're going to pick Scottie, you better have the next 5 guys perfect. You have to. I also think it speaks volumes for those guys in the lower 7K range that maybe the talent is up there. You might be able to find some guys in there. You might be able to find some guys in the upper 6K range that can at least go out there and play 4 rounds for you and get, enough birdies, stack them up. But yeah, I think they got the price right, and I'm staying away from them though this week. Yep. I'm staying away from them.
Jason, something he just said just kind of lit a light bulb there in my head. Also on the talent and all, Scottie at 14-2 instead of saying 13-2, right? Or 12-8, eliminates your next click being a Daniel Berger at 7,800. An Akshay Batey at 7,800, Justin Rose or Adam Scott or JT Poston. You have to go right to the 6s or very low 7s right away because they got that price right, which talks about the middle talent. The talent pool in the middle has gotten better on the PGA Tour as well.
Steve brought up a good point too. I think they finally made it uncomfortable. Last year it was not uncomfortable. 13,000 wasn't enough. You could still, load your lineup with guys in the 7Ks. It was never really that uncomfortable. The 7K range is usually pretty good. Now, like Steve said, like you got to be comfortable. You got to be exactly right, first off, which is very difficult in the 6K range. And you got to be comfortable with 3, maybe 4 guys in the 6K range. That those lineups look disgusting. I was just trying to see what a lineup would look like. You're putting a lot of faith in these guys that are 6,200, 6,600. Like that's tough to do. Yeah. And it goes back to last year. It was like we would always talk about, like, it's not so much do we like Scottie. I think anytime Scottie tees it up, we all want to play Scottie. But it's like the rest of your lineup. You could get 4 studs in a lineup for the same price that you could get, Scottie and a bunch of 6K guys.
The other thing I was going to say, though, but the thing is, this is the week to do it because you get 3 rounds. The cut's not till after 3 rounds. So if you have a 5 for 6 or a 4 for 6 lineup, you're only missing out on scoring for 1 round, right? So it's a full 156-man field, and you're getting your cut at Saturday night, not Friday night, right? So you can take a chance. And my process normally, because I want to play, I didn't say this to you guys, but I made a commitment to myself before the season started that I'm going to have leverage on Scottie Scheffler every single week, whether it's a bet or in lineups. And every single week he's in, I'm trying to do at least lowball 2 or 3 lineups with him. So I normally write down 30, 35 names. And then I trim it down to 20, 22 names in my player pool as I'm building lineups. I got 45 names written down right now, okay? 14 of them are in the 6K range. And I'm not set on which ones yet. But what I'm thinking of is I almost have to, with a 14-2 Scottie, if I want to play him a decent amount, I've got to have my main player pool and a separate player pool of just 6K guys. Like, I don't want a 35-person player pool, but I want to get Scottie and Justin Lauer and Carson Young and Max McGreevy and Brown and Gim, and I want to get a little exposure to all these guys, so maybe at least one of those Scottie lineups turns into a 6 for 6.
Makes sense. I mean, that is probably the best strategy that I've heard, where because it sounds like that's what you're going to have to do. If they're going to price Scottie like this and you're going to click Scottie for a lineup, you got to scroll. You're scrolling instantly all the way to the 7K. And if you do want to go get a guy like Daniel Berger this week, you are going to have to jump all the way down to a guy like Lauer or, some of those other names that you mentioned. So, you have to research and you have to be up on those guys who are in the 6K range because some of them are going to hit. You just have to make sure you hit on the right one that week.
I think the most interesting thing this week to monitor is, obviously it's Tuesday, but to monitor tomorrow is what's Scottie's ownership going to be? I think that's the biggest question of the week. And like you said, that's your way of getting leverage. I think my way of getting leverage is I'm either going to be overweight on Scottie or way underweight on Scottie. Meaning, if I think Scottie's going to be 40, 50% in a tournament, I'm just not going to play him. If Scottie's 20% in a tournament and I can put him in 60% of my lineups, I think I'm going to do that. I'm always going to find leverage off of the best player, but I'm interested to see with him as we go on this season. He hasn't played well at this course ever. And he's 14-2. What are we going to get when we see a course where he Waste Management or something like that, where he is absolutely tore it up? Is his price going to be 15,000 at those tournaments where he has good course history?
Rashad claims that he actually, my new idea is something that he does differently. 2 separate pools when Scottie Scheffler plays, especially in regular events. So maybe the theory that was, I don't know where it came from, where it popped into my head, but maybe it's not that outlandish if somebody's smarter than me, like Rashad actually, agrees with it, because, maybe that works. But there is other golfers here. You got Patrick Cantley, great course history, Ludwig Oberg, first-time teeing off, and Ben Griffin, who isn't slowing down. Steven, if you're not playing Scottie Scheffler, where are you playing in this range? Hit that up.
I'm going all my lineups. I'm pretty much starting with Oberg. So I'm not going to Cantley. I think his course history, and I just don't even like the price of him being the next second best guy. I think people are either going to shed away from him or you're going to see the people who are going to go and look at his course history. I just don't even want to bother with him. So I'm going straight to Oberg. I just think, he possesses all the tools, and he has enough seasons under him and enough mistakes in those seasons that he has to put 4 rounds together, I think more consistently this year. Where he is strong at 100 to 125 yards, he's going to see a lot of that, and he can get those putters. If he can get the putter going and get that streaky, you get those in bunches. That's how you win here. And so I'm going heavy with Oberg.
Jason, where are you at in the 10K range?
Ben Griffin is my favorite play by far. Like Steve said about Cantley, I don't trust him at this point. He doesn't do anything. Like, he's not a lead at any given area. Like, he's not as good of a putter as he used to be. He's not going to get a lot of birdies, I don't think. So he's definitely not on the radar for me. Ben Griffin just continues to do well here. I think even last week, he didn't even play well, and he finished T19. So I think we're starting to see a guy that's really turned the corner. I mean, he's a lot better golfer than he has been before. So for me, it's Ben Griffin or starting with 2 9K guys in my lineups.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm trying to get Scottie in at least a few lineups. I bet Patrick Cantlay, but I'm not playing Patrick Cantlay. I think Patrick Cantlay could win the event, but I also think he could finish 30th. I think they got his pricing way too high because I think the 9K range, as you say, Jason, is stacked. If you're not playing Scottie Scheffler, you can ignore the 10K range completely and be pretty comfortable, in my opinion, because, I mean, you just think about it. Burns, putter, birdie maker, Henley, putter, birdie maker, Fitzpatrick, McIntyre, Hall. You got so many birdie makers that putt well in that 9K range. You could completely skip the 10K range if you really wanted to. You guys agree?
You just mentioned those guys too. I think all those guys, maybe not Hall, but maybe the other guys should all be above Cantlay in price.
Yeah, I agree. I think he only got priced there because of his course history.
Yeah, Russell Henley, Sam Burns, and Ben Griffin should definitely be above him. I mean, that's just crazy. I don't know.
Lazy, yeah. They definitely got it wrong. But then in that range, Jason, then you said it too. Like, you could skip this range.
Yeah.
Where are you going at in the 9K range? Because I was even thinking about if I had the free time doing 220 max entries into different contests because I want to do a player pool of just 9K guys starting with no Scottie Scheffler. You know what I mean? Because, like, that's how much I love Burns, Henley, Fitz, and Harry Hall this week.
Yeah, the 9K range is loaded this week. I think everybody's going to play Burns. I think we've seen that in the industry. Everybody's talking about Burns. Russell Henley, obviously, he's a different golfer too. I think starting with him and then a combination of Bobby Mack and Straka is where I'm going to go. I know that Straka is the defending champ, but I just think his game is really set up for this course. And Bobby Mack is another guy that I don't think people talk about a lot, but he seems like he's turning a corner too. Like, this guy can win on a lot of different kind of courses, and he's starting to putt really well too. So I like Bobby Mack. I would say Henley, Straka, Bobby Mack. I'm in that order. Gotcha.
Steve, where are you at in this 9K range?
I'm definitely playing a lot of Burns. I'm okay with the ownership being high. I just think his putter's too elite, to ignore. I'm with Jason on Bobby Mack. I think he has a really good season. But the one guy who I'm really high on is Siwoo. And I'm high on him because I think a lot of people are going to go to his putting stats and metrics and see how low or poor of a putter he is. But I'm looking at his putting metrics here at this tournament, and he putts lights out here. And so I think his ownership's going to be super low. He's at the very bottom of the 9K range. And he's won this event before, and he plays Pete Dye courses really well. So I'm pretty high on Siwoo this week.
Interesting Siwoo stat for you. So I don't have Fantasy National to look at right at the moment right now, which kind of sucks for the stat. But so
while you're talking, I'm going to reboot it. I just
did a second ago when Steve was talking to see if it was there, because it was a lot easier to look at and say it, but it's not there. So like Steve's point, Siwoo putts really well here, but also Pat Mayo was mentioning on his show that a key range this week for proximity is 175 to 200. Guys that are in the top 10 here were all towards the top in that range last year. Siwoo's third in the field in 175 to 200. So, I mean, that kind of just further illustrates it. I think with the ownership kind of going towards the guys at the top of the 9Ks, I think Siwoo might be a little less owned than he probably should be. So I like that play too.
Yeah. No, I don't. Siwoo's on my potential player pool too. I didn't mention his name, but he's definitely a strong candidate as well. I'm just thinking, you start with Scottie Scheffler at 14-2. It leaves you with 71-60. But if you hold on, you said Henley and Straka. I think we'll say Henley and Siwoo Kim. You start with Henley and Siwoo Kim. You got almost 7,900 left still.
That's crazy.
That's a huge difference when you're trying to build a winning lineup, right?
When you're trying to be right on 6 guys, like that's the biggest thing. Like we know Scottie's good. That's not in question. It's
not
just
good. We know Scottie's.
Scottie's the best golfer by far. Okay, right?
Yeah.
But like Steve said at the beginning of the show, like you got to be good on 6 golf. You got to be right on 6 golfers. You know how hard that is to do in the 6Ks?
Yep, absolutely agree. All right, so then we move down to the 8K. I'm not as in love with this range as other people are. Maybe that's because I focused on the 6 and 7K so much, trying to find a way to build a Scottie lineup. I've heard a few names, Thor, Højgaard, and a couple others, people talking about a lot. But Steven, let's start with you. The 8K range, some of your favorite plays.
2 names, Alex Noren and Day. I think Alex Noren, he is golf-wise, what he's done in the last 10 to 12 months, where he's finished, he's just playing lights out golf. Won twice on the Europe tour during the fall, T2 finish at the Hero in December. More than capable of getting those birdies and bunches. And then Jason Day, T3 last year here, while losing strokes putting. You know, and if I'm gonna play Day, I want to play him early on in the season before the grind of the season gets to him. So those are my 2 guys in the 8K range.
Gotcha. I heard Rick Run Good hyping up Jason Day a little bit this week as well. Put him on. He wasn't on my radar, but then he kind of got added to my radar. Jason, where are you at in this range?
Kind of in line with that. Day's my favorite in this range too. I think to Steve's point, to play him early in the season and also to play him on courses where he has consistency. He's shown consistency at this course. Like he's shown high level consistency last year. I mean, finishing 3rd, pretty good course history overall. I think around the green matters this week more than people think it does. So I think with him being so strong in a short game, I like him to contend. I actually bet him this week. So Day's my favorite in this range. I don't mind Noren. I think Steve did a good job arguing for him. My only thing with him is when do we see him win on the PGA Tour? Like we've seen him win everywhere else, but he hasn't won on the PGA Tour. So it's interesting to me.
Poor man's Tommy Fleetwood.
Yeah. And then JT Poston, another guy that's just, I mean, his last 4 times here, T25, T6, T11, T12. I mean,
you basically stole the only name I had to add.
$8,100. I mean, that's
the only name I had to add to the 8K range was JT Poston.
The real JT.
Postman.
And you stole the postman from me right there. So good job. Way to go. Thanks a lot, Jason.
Did you bet him?
But I did not. I did. He was my last ad on my betting card. Yeah, I did. 65 to 1. I like that right there. So, yeah, there's that. All right. See, I went into the 7K range because let me just test something. I just want to – that's not Draftkings. All right. Say we go to two or three 9K guys. Can you get can you go 3 9K and 3 7K guys and make it work? I'm trying to think.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, because that's kind of where I want to do. We got Hall of Fame voting announcements. Beltran and Jones are your Hall of Famers. Andrew Jones should have been in by now. We'll talk about that tomorrow morning on the morning show. Or maybe after this show's wrapped up, maybe Jason and Steve will give thoughts on the Hall of Fame ballot.
Beltran's a steroids guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And a cheater with the Astros.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, interesting.
Cheater in
his trash can.
I have to see the odds. I have to see the percentages and stuff like that. I can't comment till I see the full sheet in front of me and stuff like that. 7K. That's where I'm looking at. That's where I think this tournament's going to be won. If you're going to win a GPP, it's going to be picking out of this massive group of really solid plays. And I think it starts right at the top with Daniel Berger, Rico Hoy, Christian Bazunhout, all those top names right there. Jason, what do you think of the 7K range?
Do you want to start and name and kind of go over those guys that you just mentioned? Because
I don't have notes.
I think Berger's getting a lot of steam this week too, and probably rightfully so. I mean, he had a really good end of the tournament last week, so I don't mind that play at all. Seabass, I'm a big fan of him. I just never get him right in DraftKings ever, so I don't know if I'm going to be playing him or not. My 2 favorite in this range are Max Gracerman. I was looking at Michael Kim and Max Gracerman, and I combined both of them. Max Gracerman is my favorite in this range. I just think his upside, his game fits for this course. And then the second one is Ryan Gerard. I thought he putted well last week, which
he's gonna be
he never
popular.
does, and he probably won't putt well this week. But I mean, like, it's just if you saw last week that if he puts his putter, to work, that he could be a really, really good golfer. So Gerard and Grayson are my favorites. I also like Michael Kim too.
I did bet Grayson this week. He's not on my he it's funny. Like normally everybody on my betting card makes my player pool, but I got 2 bets this week that aren't on my player pool, Patrick Cantley and Max Grayson. So I think that's really interesting right there. Real quick, before we go to Steve here on this range, there's also another name I want to talk about. And we talked about injured players or long layoff players last week a little bit, but you got Mr. Willie Zalatoris returning to the PGA Tour this week. This guy is now coming back from his 74th injury layoff now at this point, I believe. He's still only 22 years old, it looks like. You know what I mean? Like, what can we expect? I know he played in the Hero. I believe it was the Hero. He played sometime in December, and he looked okay, people said. I didn't watch it. But what do we make a Will Zalatoris? I mean, to me, winning tournaments isn't important for him this year. So I was always a big fan of his. My goal for Will Zalatoris this year is for him to just play healthy golf for a full season. And I don't know if I should. I mean, I'm not playing him this week, but I don't know if we should be playing him at all, at least till July, until we see him stay healthy consistently.
He's been really good here. I mean, that's one thing.
I know he has. I'm still not. I don't care how he could have won this event the last 3 years in a row, but he just sat out half a year for the second or third time of his career, and you just can't be confident in that, can you?
He's a guy who I got to see it to believe it, and I got to see it to be able to feel comfortable playing it. I just think there's so many other golfers who these last 2 seasons have surpassed him, and that I feel comfortable with playing regularly and not even thinking about a click. And he's not one of them.
It wasn't that long ago that Will Zalatoris was contending at the Masters, right? You know what I mean? It was just a couple of years ago. Go ahead.
He just doesn't strike me like, I know he has good course history here, but he doesn't strike me as a guy that can get to 27 under, 28 under. Like, he just doesn't seem like a birdie guy like that. He seems like a guy that's going to be better at, like, these tougher tournaments, 10 under kind of tournaments.
All right, Steve, what do you got in the 7K range here?
I like Bazoon Hoot. Good course history, 3 out of 4 cuts made, 10 straight cuts made in his, in a row. And he's got the putter to contend here. And then the other guy I really like, or 2 guys I really like, Valimaki. He does 2 things well. He hits his irons and he putts really, really well. Last year, he was 18th in strokes gained in approach, and he was 10 in putting. And those are the 2 key things that you need here. And Akshay, he's fallen in my, with Ludwig, sort of in my gut. I just feel like they have all the tools to go out there and compete every single week with these top guys. And I think Akshay, he's great on par 5s. He can go out there and rack up, maybe some eagles. And yeah, so those 3 names for sure. I'm looking at in the 7K.
Are you scared of Akshay's course history at all?
No, he's again. I just think that what we've seen from him throughout the season, coming into this season, I just think that he's going to put it all together. We're going to see a lot of these guys, I think, that are usually have bad course history. We're going to see them take the next step. I just feel like there's too much science behind the game and too much technology for these guys to struggle. Like the ones who are really like have talent, like we all see it in Akshay, off the tee, what he can do. Ludwig, these guys. And I just think that we're advancing in golf in a way that I think that's why Brooks wants to come back. He wants to tell people, look what I can do still. And I'm okay with missing out on millions, but I can't have guys like Akshay surpassing me in, the leaderboard for official world golf ranking. So I'm not afraid of it at all.
I kind of feel weird that Akshay has such bad course history here because he's not the biggest hitter. And this is a super short course. And it brings the par 5s into play for him. It brings a lot of things in for him. You would think Akshay would have better course history at this event. and he doesn't. And I agree with everything else you said, Steve, that, he could write that this year here. Sorry, Jason.
I also think that we forget when it comes to Akshay, he's 23. It's not like he's 30. Like, he's 23 years old. He's still on the low end of these really good golfers. I mean, like, he's shown flashes. Like, and I'm with Steve. I think like this could be a year that he breaks out a little bit. Like, he's got a superstar style game. I think he just needs to get the confidence and he needs to figure out how to win, which is a huge thing. But
Akshay is closer to your son in age than he is you in age. That's how young Akshay still is.
Yeah,
I'm just guessing. I guessed that.
No, he is.
Yeah, definitely me. But I guessed on that, but I figured I was right. I'm gonna throw a couple other names out there. I just assumed you're old as ass like me. Some other names I'm gonna throw out there. Kevin Yu. I think you mentioned Ryan Gerard. Valimaki was mentioned. McCarty at 7,200. Pot Geeter. As a random play, the dude hits it a ton, which you don't need, but the dude can go super low. We've seen him get to 20 under before last year. So him and I didn't have him. And then I heard Rick Run Good talk about him. So I did a little bit of a dive. Don't have my notes handy, but I do have the name written down here. This is your guy, Jason. Power. Seamus Power has good course history. Played really well in the fall. Power might be a name to sprinkle in
also,
there. At 7K.
He did okay last week. I think it was like
he did okay last week too.
Yeah.
All right. So not the 6K range, the ever important 6K range. If you want to play Scottie Scheffler, again, I don't have any notes on these guys, but I got a lot of names written down. Jason, you said there's not much. You got one or two names in the 6K range, or 100 that you like?
Lee Hodges is one that sticks out for me. I think his game has just been like he's starting to show that he's a pretty consistent golfer. I think he's underpriced this week. That's one for me. There's not a ton I love in this range, to be completely honest with you. I think he's my favorite. And then I've seen a lot of talk about Tom Hoagie today, which I could be interested in that. I think 5 of his last 6 times here, he's had pretty good finishes. So Tom Hoagie's another interesting one. Hasn't been good at all in a while, but I think those are my 2 favorites in this range.
Well, has Tom Hoagie not been good for a while? Because did you know Tom Hoagie finished in the top 50 last year and is in all elevated events? Like, you would not realize Tom Hoagie finished in the top 50 last year.
He really didn't seem like he had a good year, but I mean, like, just here, he has a T6 cut, second, T32, T17, T29. That's pretty good course history.
Yeah. Tom Hoagie's a good name, I think, this week.
Yeah.
Steve, what do you got in the 6K range? Anything exciting?
I agree with Lee Hodges, with Jason. I'm going to go back to my guy, S.H. Kim, from last week. I'm going to go with him again just because of the putter. Guys who I'm looking at in this 6K range, guys who can putt. Because if they're not going to get you a round on Sunday, they can at least stack you up, and get you some consecutive birdies in a row. Maybe go out there and get you an eagle because they can get, a deep birdie putting them. He's one of those guys who can putt lights out. And then another guy at the very, very bottom who I remember, I think he shot like a 62 in one of the rounds last year. Camilo, I can never pronounce the last name. Villegas or whatever. I think he finished in the top 5 or in the top 10 of this event. Yeah. So, and he's just, I'm looking at guys maybe last year who, came out of nowhere and played well. I think you mentioned Lauer, he was one of those guys. So, those are a few names that I got in the 6K range.
Fun fact, I almost bet Villegas this week. I thought long and hard.
Yeah. Villegas is on the list of a maybe for sure. But you got Lauer, who I mentioned. You got Max McGreevy, Mac Meisner, Doug Gim's a strong play. No, golf names are pretty difficult to pronounce, K1. All right? They are. They're not all easy like Bazoo.
You're throwing in a lot of different
K1. Don't let my last name of Fuentes fooling you. I speak no Espanol. So me and Camilo, we're not hanging out. You know what I mean? So that's a dangerous last name to say for me. I'm mispronouncing that every time.
All right. So Mac Meisner, Max McGreevy, Doug Gim, Will Shipley, Justin Lauer, Adam Svensson, and Carson Young. They're all names I got other names written down in this 6K range. but they're all names that are probably going to get one click if I go with my Scottie Scheffler strategy.
My advice to you, stay off McGreevy. Not the course for him.
Again, I don't know. I don't have my notes. I don't know. I don't have my notes.
He's missed all 3 cuts he's played here, and he missed the cut last week. I'm not. Yeah. Everybody's in on him as like being a breakout star. I am not. So I was when Steve said SH Kim, I kind of thought about something. When Steve gets like this about a certain player, you need to go with his thought about this guy. Like last year, it was Emiliano Grillo. Every week that he knew when to play him, Matt Kuchar too. He knew when to play him. He knew when to not play him. If he says SH
not a
Kim,
Kuchar week.
If he says SH Kim, you play SH Kim.
Yep. All right. So let's get we wrap that up. Let's start on. We had a very rough start. Adam asked about it earlier. How did you guys do last week? I did not do very well. About 70% down on DFS. No outrights. I bet 5 top 20s. None of them hit the top 20. I had a shit week, but it got saved because I almost won another showdown GPP. So I almost broke even for the week because of one almost showdown win. But that's it. So we'll talk showdowns later. I was thinking about doing a showdown show at some point, but we'll see. This is not the week to do it because the showdowns you have basically if you're playing showdowns this week, all you need to do every round is play all the golfers from La Quinta in your showdown lineups.
But I think DraftKings knows that now. So I think that do
they know that now? In the past, that's all I did was do showdowns. I only pick La Quinta golfers. That's all I would do. So if you can't do that, then I would say just focus straight on, not. But anyway, the contest that we're running, the one and done between the 3 of us and our DFS contest, I got the graphics compliments of Mr. Soldier, Steven Fuentes. I had 0 because I had Nico Echeverria missing the cut. Jason had 31.5. Steve with a grand total 163. Jason won the DFS contest. So that's where our standings are. Jason, did you have a good week? Did you I know you had one lineup contending early on that fell apart.
Not even early on. After 3 rounds, I was in 9th in the $1. And it fell to 2,300, which hurt my feelings a lot.
Was that in the 20 max or in the single entry?
20 max. So I had a good lineup. I had Spawn was in there, McCarthy. I'm trying to think of who was in there. Gerard, Taylor, and SH Kim. So after 3 rounds, I was sitting pretty. I had 2 guys tied for the lead, and SH Kim was in 3rd or something after 3 rounds. Yeah. It fell apart on Sunday. It really hurt my feelings.
Hurt your feelings? Yeah.
It did.
Steve, how about you last week? Outside of your huge number in the one and done, did you have a good week?
No, I didn't win. Once SH Kim lost first place and started dropping down, and Connors just didn't do anything for me on Sunday. Connors was my only guy going into Sunday that I had for an outright, and I think he was +1. So, and I guess Whaley was my other guy who kind of had a good outing. But again, Sunday, it's just I can't get guys that put 4, only 3 rounds together, not 4.
It was a strange week.
It was Saturday for me with Adrian Dumont de Chassart, the Belgian. That's when because he was in the lead.
Oh yeah.
After Friday, I think you texted me, Steve, about ADDC. I'm just going to call him ADDC from now on. ADDC. Yeah, I mean, he's on my list for maybe this week as well in the 6K range as well. So, but anyway, let's build some lineups. Jason, you won. You get to pick the order this week.
Steve is going to go first. Phil's going to go second. I'm going to go third.
Wasn't that the order last week too?
Yes.
Yeah. Sticking to it. All right. Gotcha. Steve, you're going to go for it first here.
All right. I'm going to go with Day.
Jason Day.
I wanted you to pick Scottie right there.
I'm picking Scottie. So I'm going to show you how you can build a Scottie Scheffler lineup right now. So we're gonna prove that you can build a winning Scottie Scheffler lineup right now.
It can be done.
It can be done.
Very interesting. I'm gonna go Henley, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Ben Griffin.
Ooh, going to big dogs first, huh?
Going right out the bat like that. All right, I'm going to go with Justin Lauer as my second pick here to pair with Scottie. So 14-2.
Does he seem like he's underpriced this week to you?
It absolutely does, especially considering his course history. He missed his last 2 cuts in the fall swing, but before that, he had a third at the Bank of Utah in the fall swing. I mean, he's not a great golfer by any means.
No.
But he gets his most success in this early part of the season normally when the fields are lighter. So I think it's a fair start, to pair with Scottie. Steven, you're on the board for 2.
All right, I'm gonna go with a guy who we didn't talk about. That's I feel like is on everyone's radar though is Bridgman.
Yeah,
he's on my list.
Bet him.
And I'm gonna go get my guy. I'll go get Oberg.
Putting his money where his mouth is. I like it.
I like it too. Oh, that puts me back up on the board. Sorry. I kind of forgot that put me on the board there.
Tony Finau.
Can we just talk about how if I didn't pick Finau in the lineup last week, I probably would have come close to winning a DPP with my show lineup.
Oh, man. Okay, I'm going with Doug Gim with my next pick.
Gim Reaper. All right, I'm gonna go Hoagie. And then I'm gonna go.
What's Hoagie's price again?
65.
Yeah. I knew it was in the 60s.
Then I'm gonna go with. I'll go Gracerman.
Okay. That puts me on the board, and we're just gonna go. I'm gonna just pronounce it ADDC. Adrian Dumont de Chassart from
I'll tell you
Belgium.
what, if he had a following and they had ADDC shirts in the ACDC font, just following him around, that'd be great.
You should do that.
I'm gonna go with Valimaki.
I like that.
I like how both of you guys always pick the weirdest guy to jump on the bandwagon, and that's your guy for the year.
Is it the weirdest guy? I don't know.
He's my new Sepp Straka. I'm going. I really like Valimaki. And with my second one, I'm gonna go with SH Kim.
Which means we should all play SH Kim this week.
I am adding SH Kim to my lineup.
Yes, and if you weren't, you should.
I wasn't going to, but I am 100% at 6,600, adding him to my player pool. No doubt it. So that puts me on the board, right?
Yep.
You made your 2. Okay, so I'm going to go with the Postman, JT Postman.
Oh, you dick.
The Postman. I'll trade you Venmo me $5 before the show's over, and you can have them. I'm a poor man. I need money,
I won't hurt my feelings. I'll be honest.
I apologize.
My turn.
Yep, you're up for 2. Your last 2.
All right. Since I got to pivot, since you just hurt my feelings. I'm gonna go.
My feelings were hurt.
I'm gonna go Straka, and then I'm gonna go Power.
It's good. It's good. I like it. I've got 83 left. I'm going to leave 500 on the table here. I'm going to go Daniel Berger for my last pick. So I got Scheffler, Lauer, Gim, ADDC, Postman, and Berger on my
Can I make a real quick point before Steve picks?
Yeah, go for it.
So we were talking about lineup construction and to play Scottie or not to play Scottie. I have 2 9K guys and a 10K guy in my lineup. So that's you could do that or you could play Scottie.
Yeah, I mean, basically my lineup is Scottie, 1 8K, 3 6K, and a 7K guy.
Yeah,
with Scottie. And
actually not that bad. It doesn't look that terrible.
Not bad, but I don't feel great about it. Now, here's the thing, and Steve, you can pick your last pick in a second. If Scottie's at 40%, like you text him, you think he might be, that lineup has to be perfect for to have a chance.
Yeah.
But if he's, say, 25% or 28%, I think that lineup's a lot better if his ownership's sub 30%, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
that's the way I'm looking at it. Steve, your final pick.
I'm going to go with Bobby Mack.
Bobby Mack.
Gotcha. I like Bobby Mack.
Yeah, so do I. I want to see Bobby Mack succeed.
You rolled with Scottie and still had money on the board.
I went with Scottie and still had $500 on the board. I always leave 200 or 300. But yeah, I went with 500 left on the board with Scottie. Which, in theory, if it wasn't a contest, if I was just building lineups, I would probably try to tweak that down and upgrade someone like a Doug Gim to 71. Or like I could have upgraded Gim to power, even though you took him, or Potgieter or McCarty or Valimaki. I could have upgraded to one of those guys. So you could build a Scottie lineup with 2 6s, 2 7s, and an 8K lineup. But the way I build it for the purposes of this exercise, it went 3 6s. So that's just the way that is. One and dones. Who's first on the one and done?
You are, my friend, then me, then Steve.
I'm going to go with Daniel Berger, who I also bet at 70 to 1 to win this event. Daniel Berger's my one and done this week.
All right, I'm going to go with. Hold on. Deciding on the spot.
Right.
I'll go.
I prepared for the show. Most of my notes are missing, but I prepared for the show.
I'll go Poston.
Poston.
Gotcha. Steven Fuentes.
I'm going to go with Day.
There you go. I like Day as a one and done. When I was listening to Rick Run Good talk about Jason Day, he was talking about how Jason Day is playing so many fewer tournaments in his schedule now, and that Jason Day is a guy that could have, with a lighter load, could have pretty good success this year. And I'm kind of interested because Jason Day's a really good golfer, good personality. Always enjoyed watching him play. So we'll see how he does.
That's the key, though. I think him playing a lighter schedule and picking and choosing where he plays strategically, I think is really smart. Not that they all don't do that, but I feel like him, especially like with his issues with injuries and stuff, I think that's really smart.
What's up, Josh? How you doing this evening? Hope you're doing well. All right, let's talk about outright bets, and it's interesting because obviously there is a massive preparation. Yeah, no, not for golf betting. You need preparation for golf betting. There's a lot of talk, and I know Jason thinks I bet 97% of the field this week. I did not.
I thought
there's a lot of people spreading their bets out because of the outrights always being the long shots. So my question is, I got 9 outrights. I normally go 5 or 6, sometimes 4. I went 9. And I see people betting only long shots this week. I mixed it up. I got Burns at 20 to 1, Cantley 25 to 1, Hall 35 to 1. That's my semi-favorites. I got a couple guys in the middle, Poston at 65, Berger 70, Gracerman at 75. And then I went 3 long shots, Gim 200, ADDC 300, and Justin Lauer 400. Is that the way to go? Is it should we stick to, I put out the theory thread that with a deeper field, a favorite's going to win? Or what should the theory be on betting this week, Jason?
I see what you're saying, 100%.
Spreading it out versus going all. I still bet the same amount of money. In fact,
it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're betting 3 guys or 10 guys. It really doesn't matter as long as you're staying strong to what you believe. I have
one less dollar bet than normal this week.
I don't think there's a right or wrong way. I'm not one of those people that's like we see it all the time on Twitter, like the betting police. It's like, hey, bet who you think is good. Bet who you think is right with your money. Don't overdo it, but I think bet who you think is right. And for me, I try to stay around 5 a week. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 6. But I try to stay around 5 a week. With
and you stuck to that gun this
same
week.
Thing though with money. Like I stick with the same amount of money each week. So,
I just took just for theories. Say I was betting 5 golfers at $5. I bet 4 golfers at $5, and then took that last $5 and split it to 5 long shots, which would still clear me the same amount of money, right? So I think my strategy is sound this week, giving myself some exposure to some long shots. That's it.
And if you bet half the field, chances are you're going to win at some point.
Yeah, exactly. When you bet 97% of the field, you're going to Scottie Scheffler's going to win, and I'm going to miss out on. I'm going to still lose on all of them. I wonder what a Scottie Scheffler win with an ADDC top 40 would pay out. That would be something.
Probably like 40 to 1.
Yeah, probably. I mean, he is 300 to 1 to win the event. Yeah. Jason, what does your outright card look like this week?
I thought you were going to go to Steve. I have Griffin 20 to 1, Straka 45 to 1, Thor Bjornsson, who I just recently found out is American. I did not know that. 45 to 1, Day 80 to 1, Nick Taylor 90 to 1, and Bridgman 100 to 1. Did you guys know that he was American? You wouldn't think Thor Bjornsson would be American.
Yeah, I mean, I would have thought he was from damn it, I missed it. I forgot where Thor was from. Sorry. I tried to make a Thor joke, but I kind of Asgard. I was gonna say I was trying to say Asgard.
Hey, put
there,
Josh's comment up there. It's good timing.
Yeah, I mean, yes, Thor. Yes, absolutely. Look, Thor's in my player pool. Thor and Thor's name was listed on my outright sheet, and then I scribbled like I went 9. I didn't want to go from 97% of the field bet to 99% of the field bet. So 3 guys took the X. Thor was one of those 3 guys that didn't get bet. Sorry, Steven, where you at with the betting card this week?
He's another one of those guys though that could easily get hot with the putter and
Absolutely
is a bomber that has the accuracy off the tee that can succeed here. I have Oberg 20-1.
He'll be one of the only 2 8K guys I use this week. Him and Poston in lineups. That's it. The rest of the 8K range is gone for me. Sorry, go ahead.
Oberg 20-1, Bobby Mack 28-1, Straka 35-1, Siwoo 50-1, Day and Akshay 80-1, and then I added Bazudenhout 100-1 late.
Bazudenhout.
I'm surprised that C was 50. That's a good number.
It's a really good number, to be honest with you. I'm trying to figure this out real quick, but I can't. Damn it! I guess I got to log into DraftKings here to do this. I was trying to find top 40 numbers on DraftKings, but I'm not logged in right now, so it won't let me look it up. I was trying to put together it's top 20. Yep. They don't have anything but top 20s listed right now. I was trying to find a top 40 number for him. I got Seawood when it opened at 52. Yeah, look, I think it's kind of shocking this week, the outright card. I mean, obviously 210, 230 is what Scottie is, but all these other guys in the 10K range are all 20-1. Oberg, Cantley 25-1. Ben Griffin 20-1. There's not just a big gap on the DraftKings price. There's a huge gap on the odds board as well with these guys.
I think I was surprised with some of the numbers originally. I think there was the numbers were huge for some of these guys, but like Josh just said, these numbers changed in a hurry for a lot of guys.
They did.
There was a lot of guys out there that I looked to bet and they were at one number, and I looked back a little while later and I'm like, holy crap.
I actually opened up Day and Batia at 60-1, and then when a couple hours later I looked back and it was 80-1, I was like, what the hell? I was like, damn it. I was like, so yeah. But I took him. I still took him at the 80-1.
That's good. That's good. I'm trying to find at least ADDC's top 20 number to see what that parlay would look like.
You got to make the shirt like Steve said. That's so genius.
I already made a 5th place Finau hat. I mean, I don't have one of them anymore, but I had the hat. I got to find with this ADDC, ACDC. I got to do it in the ACDC.
I like how you had the 5th place Finau and turned into Tiger Finau for a little while, and then now he's just the worst golfer on the planet.
All right, so ADDC top 20 with a Scottie Scheffler win only pays 21 to 1.
That's not enough.
That is not enough at all.
No.
We fade Scottie in single entries. We spent about the first 25 minutes, Josh, of this show trying to debate. I just built a Scottie Scheffler lineup, and I had to put 3 6K guys in it. And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer there. I mean,
think two of us, right? 2 of us fade, and then the other one, and then you play them. So
I have come to the agreement of that I am going to sprinkle Scottie in every single week this year. I'm not going to skip him, but it's going to come down to ownership tomorrow afternoon. If he's under 30%, then I'm going to play 30, 40, 50% of him in my lineups. If he's over 30%, it might just be the one lineup I built for this show, and that's it. And we'll see how it goes. I love, and they love, Josh, the 9K range and the upper 7K range. So there's definitely, if you're going to skip him, this is the week to do it, I guess, in this field. So, and Josh is going to fade him. Anyway, do we got any other final thoughts before we wrap this up, guys?
I just think it's, to chime on into Josh's comment, I just think there's too many 6K guys that make you think, oh, maybe they could, be out there and make it 4 rounds and be in the perfect Scottie lineup. Mm-hmm. For me to be like, yeah, you have to get the other 5 guys exact in order to play Scottie this week. And I just I don't feel comfortable. I don't even want to waste my time going down there in the 6K range and having to search for that long. More power to you, Phil, for doing that, because it's
Look, we
give you a
use
head
Fantasy
alone.
National, Josh. Because we were originally sponsored by them. Their website's down right now as for an update. So I don't know what his ownership is. I know your site. I don't pay for your site, so I don't get that ownership information. Sorry, Josh. But yeah, I mean, if he's at 25% ownership, dude, if it comes down to tomorrow afternoon, he's at 25%. I'm probably putting him in 8, 10, 12 lineups tomorrow, Scottie Scheffler, and I'm just going to take that chance. I really am. I think 25% Scottie, it's totally doable. It is totally doable. So I hope he's at 25% so I could do that.
I was thinking 25 or 30, so that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So real quick, before I get to let you guys go, because we're not just golf people here, we love all sports. Carlos Beltran, Andrew Jones, Hall of Famers. Carlos Beltran got 84.2%. You need 75% to get in. Andrew Jones finally got in, which I would have voted for him the first second he was eligible. Greatest defensive second baseman of all, or center fielder of all time, 78.4%. The next guy on the list that didn't get in, Philly's own Chase Utley, got 59%. Andy Pettit, 48%. K-Rod, Felix Hernandez, 46%. A-Rod, 40%. Man Ram, 38%. Abreu, 30%. Jimmy Rollins, 25%. That's the top of your board on your thing. Do you think they got the Hall of Fame right? Do you think any other guys should have gotten in? What are your guys' thoughts on the Hall of Fame results there?
Go ahead, Steve.
I don't agree with Beltran. I just think if you're gonna not include other guys for whatever reasons, you can't include that guy. But I'm all about, like you said, Andrew Jones. I don't think it should have taken this long. I think the first time he was on it, he should have gotten it. I think he was part of that Atlanta Braves era that we look at with Chipper Jones, David Justice, and those guys. He made a mark, out in that outfield for what swag. You know what I mean? Like he brought that out there.
Was loaded. Like you had
loaded.
You had those guys that you just mentioned. Not to mention you had the best rotation in baseball for 10 years.
Staff, yeah.
Yep. What do you think, Jason?
I agree with the Beltran thing. That's a little hard for me to understand. It's like if you're gonna not put Manny Ramirez and A-Rod in there, how do you put Beltran in there? I mean, He's a stud, and by all means, like his numbers are Hall of Fame worthy. He was another guy that was really
especially his playoff numbers. I mean, he was as much as they come in the postseason.
And he was another guy that was really good defensively too. So I put him in. The biggest gripe I have with the Hall of Fame right now, and you guys probably won't really affect you as much, but Lou Whitaker, I don't know if you guys know him. He was the Tigers' second baseman for a long time, is one of the biggest snubs in the Hall of Fame history. And the fact that he's just not even on the ballot anymore just blows my mind.
There's so much wrong with the Hall of Fame, all sports Hall of Fames, but especially baseball. And I put this a tweet out there, so I don't even know if there's responses to it. It's a shame that Hall of Fame voting has become clickbait.
Yeah.
People create those that have votes. I think there's like 400 some guys that have a vote, or 400 people, guys and girls that have votes. They can't wait to submit their ballot so they can screenshot it and post it on social media for clicks. And I saw Bob Nightingale. He had like 3 people on his ballot. None of them he didn't have Beltran, he didn't have Andrew Jones, like whatever it was. It was dumb. He only made his ballot and posted it so he can get clicks, because that's where the money is. And I think that just goes to the problem with sports in general and media in general. It's all about clicks. There's too many agendas, and I think all steroid users should be in the Hall of Fame that deserve it. Beltran, Andy Pettit, A-Rod, Barry Bonds, they should all be in, because the mission statement for the Hall of Fame says, and I quote, "To preserve the history and legacy of the game." They are a huge part of the history and legacy of this game, so you put them in there. And you tell their story in the Hall of Fame and why it's wrong what they did, and how that kids these days shouldn't do it. So I don't think we should be ignoring the story like that.
I have 2 points with that. I think that's true, 100%. Well, obviously the biggest case is Pete Rose, right? Like, I mean, if Pete Rose is in the Hall of Fame, do you have a Hall of Fame at this point? Yeah, he did something when he managed. It wasn't good, obviously, like that. But that's one of the biggest crocs of all time. Like,
he was not. Real quick, he was not a Hall of Fame coach. He was a Hall of Fame player. He wasn't betting on the games as a player. Well, maybe he was, but he got caught betting on the games as a coach, not a player.
But you want to talk about records? We always talk about records. What's going to be broken? Who's going to have the most this? Who's going to have the most that? You want to talk about a record that's never going to be broken? His hit record. Nobody's getting 4,000 hits anymore. It's just not going to happen. I mean, like, that is a record that's insane. But I always go back to kind of like the Andrew Jones thing kind of just made me think about it. Is like, dude was probably the second best player on the best team of the decade. Like, we don't put enough into that. I think a lot goes into, like you said, with the clickbait, like with Nightingale and all those guys. It's like they just want to post these guys to create controversy. It's like there's certain situations where those guys were the best players in the 90s. When you're talking about the Tigers, I was just talking about Lou Whitaker, best second baseman in the 80s of probably the best team in the decade. It's like, how do you not put him in the Hall of Fame? That's tough. I mean,
we'll be talking about this tomorrow on Trend in the AM, obviously, with the Phillies, Chase Utley getting close, and Jimmy Rollins so far down the list at 25%, which is ridiculous. We'll be covering this tomorrow morning because I got a lot of opinions on this to get off my chest. But for now, we're going to wrap up Fairway to Heaven, week 2 of season 6 of the 2026 golf season. Guys, for Jason Sullivan, for Soldier Steve, I am Phil Stiefel. Let's make some money, at least a little bit more than last week. Everybody have a great week. Always. Bubbles up. Yeah, and stay warm for sure.